You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
Number one on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, BANG. That's BANG. Enter it now.
FoxPHLGambler.com. Once again, FoxPHLGambler.com right now. And away we go. Good afternoon, everybody. Daily Ticket with you live here on a Tuesday. A lot to get to. Of course, we're going to pick things up right where they left off out there in the Bay Area. A lot of people are pissed off on the timeline, including myself. We got some NFL conversation. Sam Oshry is going to join us a little bit later at 4 o'clock to talk about VJ Edgecombe and how he's going to miss the full season for the 76ers. It's just, hey, man. More things change, the more they stay the same. But kicking things off with us, the great Kyle Fisher, who had a wonderful piece on Orion Kirkling that we will discuss a little bit more. But, of course, we got to open up Kyle, and you can find Kyle over on socials at Kyle Fisher 45. And, of course, read him over at the Philly Sports Network. Find those guys and gals at Philadelphia SN. Phil Cuzzi! What do we do with them? What do we do with them? Do we send them to Alligator Alcatraz? Is that what that's what we should do? No, I kid. I get it. We're all fired up, and rightfully so. Because I'll tell you what, Kyle. Seeing that video, the breakdown that has 1 million+ views now on the timeline, with the collective terrible calls across the board to Bryce Harper and not one but two at bats, and giving Chapman 3 extra lives at the plate, and oh, by the way, he delivered again. 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. That's not going to help your cause, Phillies. There are plenty of flaws that we could point to for the Phillies to lose that game. But you don't need to be assisted by the damn umpire whose job it is to call balls and strikes. And he was atrocious in those situations. Don't take my word for it. You can easily see on all things as far as the umpire scorecard that's out there. He was 91% overall accuracy. He was, let's see here, because they had the other numbers as far as compared to league average. He was well below the league average as far as accuracy is concerned. It was overall in favor of San Francisco. And like I said, there are plenty of things that lead you in 9 innings that make you lose a ball game. But, man, come on. You strike 3 on Harper and not 1 but 2 at-bats. And then what he did in Chapman in that moment, in that game, in that spot of the game, it can't happen. It can't happen, Kyle, and it's just frustrating to see it.
That was a really rough 8th inning for Cuzzi, that's for sure. There's not much else to say about it, Sean, other than ABS is coming next year, and here's a prime example of why, right? They tested it in spring training. It went well. The guys down in the minors are used to it. It goes well down there. From all things that I've heard as well, the umpires don't hate it down there. A lot of the younger umpires, especially, their priority is getting it right over making it about them. It's not like it used to be. And the easiest way to ensure that you get it right is to take advantage of the technology. That thing's coming sooner rather than later. We'll see. There's discussions. Maybe there could be some issues with the CBA coming up, so we'll see how quickly it really arrives. But I think it's coming sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I was one of the guys that wasn't so much anti-robot umpires, but I needed to be swayed a little bit, and that was a couple years ago. I was pro robot umpires for the last 3-4 seasons now, And the big reason for me, Kyle, is the suspense will still be there. If you watch the way it plays out in the minor leagues, if you see the other leagues that use it, it's still there. The suspense, like, okay, you think it's a 3-2 count, bases are loaded, and you can use whatever scenario you want. Just imagine it, and then all of a sudden it's it's a ball 4. Instead, the catcher says no, let's go ahead. I think the tip of the cap or touch your head, whatever it is, rub your belly, whatever it is.
Can you do both at the same time though? That's the question.
Yeah, they call up there, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh, a hush over the crowd. And it's like Wimbledon. It's like tennis, when they see that ball come down on the jumbotron. Like I think
this little roar of the crowd.
Yeah, man. I still think the suspense will be there, and I think it's going to be pretty cool. And at the end of the day / game, they will get the call right. It is so important. You're just going up there. It's already tough enough to hit these pitchers. And when they come out of the bullpen, you're seeing them for the first time. And, in Harper's defense, he's dealing with a little bit of an injury. So he's got all sorts of things working against him. It's chilly night in San Francisco. And yeah, I know he's paid very well, but that's not an easy situation for these guys to step into. And then when you're getting called strike 3 on a high up and a low and away, which are balls, bottom line, they are balls. They're out of the strike zones. It's really tough. It's a tough spot for Bryce. And of course, on the flip side for Kirkling, not getting those calls.
Yeah, man, especially like Bryce is a guy who wants to start getting going. He battled in a few at bats that he didn't necessarily do before in those first few games back from the injured list. He finally starts to start battling. He's seen the ball a little bit better, and to take the bat out of his hands, sometimes it gets to a point where you might as well not even walk up there if the umpire is going to be like this. It's really tough to watch a guy like him who knows the strike zone so well to really feel helpless up there. I saw this discourse going on last night that a lot of people felt Rob Thompson should have been out there in Cuzzi's ear. But you saw the article that Matt Gelb wrote. Cuzzi has a reputation for, if you speak up to him about it, he's more likely to double down than he is to fix it. And that's just such an old school umpire thing. Like, oh, challenge me, I'll show you what the strike zone really looks like. It's a lot of people will even say you need to be consistent. If that's a ball for us, then it's a ball for them. If it's a strike for us, it's a strike for them. We can handle it not being what we expect a traditional zone to be. It's the consistency. It's if early in the game you're calling the outside pitch and then late in the game you're not, or you're calling the outside pitch for us but not for them, and calling the inside for them and not for us, vice versa. It's people want consistency even if it's not matching the box perfectly, and you didn't get that with Cuzzi. You don't get that with Cuzzi a lot, unfortunately.
Yeah, consistency would be to start the investigation into Cuzzi for being flagged for sports betting. That's how bad the calls were. I think that would be the start that I'm looking for. Three straight pitches to Kirkling, back to back balls, and they were in the zone. They were strikes. Kyle, listening back to the great Nick Picone, who has all the audio, he popped up the San Francisco announcers, and even hearing their call, they're like, wow. Like they were floored. Like, what is going on right now? So, it's one of those issues where you're like wondering, man, there's got to be something else that they can do. But like you said, the robot umps will be coming next year. Hopefully that is the case. We'll see what happens there. To your point about Rob Thompson, and I know it's a talking point. I know that we have 162 games and it's July and there's not a lot cracking for people. And so they will be frustrated. I will tell you that article kind of made me even more mad. Like, I don't care. It made me mad from the standpoint, of course, that's what he's known for. Like you correctly pointed out, that old school mentality. Like, dude, just get the calls right. Get out of the way. We're not here to see you. This isn't the ump show. People are here to see Bryce Harper. People are here to see the Giants versus the Phillies. They're not here to see Phil freaking Cuzzi at 69 years of age. Not going to age discriminate. Not going to do it. However, because he hasn't, if you look at, and again, the umpscorecards.com, they do a great job. If I'm reading it correctly, because there's a whole lot of letters and that are detailed categories at the top that I'm sure I think I'm getting a few wrong, but at the end of the day, he is pretty good as far as accuracy is concerned, as far as accuracy above expected. He's in the plus percentile, so I think that's a good thing. Consistency, like you pointed out, the key word. We always say it, no matter the sport, just be consistent, call it both ways. And he isn't that bad of an umpire. So he had a bad night. I'm willing to say that that's the case. But damn it, man, you might have cost the team a victory. And, there's a lot of money on the line from sports betting. We do that for a living here. I would also say that we've seen wild cards be decided by one game. We've seen home field decided by one game, divisions, like these things matter in 162. So that's like, I get Phillies fans' frustration. That's all. I'm with them there.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can't discount that. You just talked about home field advantage. San Francisco, that victory puts them in the last wild card spot. Well, they're really good at home. I mean, look at how poorly the Phillies do there. Imagine they would have to step into San Francisco in an early round playoff matchup because of this one game. You would hate for that to be the scenario, and obviously you have to take care of business. We've talked about 162, but Philly has struggled in San Fran for years now, and for them to have almost this, it's not home cooking. I'm not accusing Cuzzi of being a San Francisco Giants supporter or anything like that.
He's actually a Mets fan.
I was going to say, I think his fandom might be known, but it's not like I'm saying that. But when you see, it's a 3-1 game. Yes, you've already pointed out you have to hit with runners in scoring position. But according to umpire scorecards, they gave him a 1.5 run advantage in a 2-run game by calls going their way. It's become it's an old story at this point, right? Yeah. We've been talking about forever. Umpires need to be better, and they have the technology to do it. It's going to happen as early as next season.
So Taijuan Walker, come on down. How do you feel about that? Of course, Robbie Ray on the mound, pretty good pitcher in his own right for the I almost called them 49ers. Got football on the brain, baby. Football on the brain. I got a statement for you that I'm going to give you with everybody that's counting down and giving us lists, these top 100 lists. I was watching the NFL Network reveal it live on X. I got a statement. It's not a hot take. It's the reality of the situation, Kyle Fisher. I'll get into that in just a second. But anyways, Taijuan Walker on the mound taking out Robbie Ray and the San Francisco Giants. 9:45 first pitch this evening. And, man, it was just unfortunate from Christopher Sanchez's perspective last night, just how great he's been. And you want to see them get that, don't waste it. A lot like Zach Wheeler on Sunday. Just don't waste this gem of a start here. And one of the things that came out in that broadcast last night that Christopher Sanchez walked somebody, I think the second or third inning, it was the first walk since June 8th.
Yeah.
These guys have been so good right now, Kyle, and you just don't want to go out there and waste it. But another opportunity where the Phillies had a chance to win due to starting pitching, and the bats were just non-existent.
It's funny, man. You mentioned not wasting it. And we talked on Alley Talk, the Philly SN Philly show that we do on Fridays. We talked about it last week, and you don't want to waste these great starts, but their pitching staff has become so good that you're almost naturally going to waste some of these great starts. You just don't want to make it commonplace. I understand what you're saying. It wasn't to combat what your point was, but you're almost going to waste some great starts because of how good their pitching staff is. You just hope that the offense comes around and you win enough of these good starts where it doesn't feel like you've wasted a big opportunity. If they still win the division, they still win 93 to 97 games. How much did they really waste? I don't know, right? We could say the same thing about the Dodgers. They're going through a little bit of a lull right now, and they're supposed to be the superheroes of the league. So you don't want to waste anything. You don't want to waste great performances. They need to start hitting with runners in scoring position. It sounds like a lot of the conversations we've had over the years. I think regardless of how good the pitching is, you're not going to win when you're 0 for your last 24 with runners in scoring position. It's just they almost didn't win the Zach Wheeler start the other day for the exact same reason. Yeah. Here's a good one for you, Sean. Sure. The Zach Wheeler, they went 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position. They struck out in 9 of those at-bats. So struck out 90% of their runners in scoring position opportunities. In the last 50 years, on Sunday, the Phillies became the only team to go 0 for 10 or worse with runners in scoring position, to strike out in 90% plus of those opportunities and still win the game. That's how good Zach Wheeler had to be to win that game on Sunday. They somehow won despite having one of the worst offensive performances in recent memory.
Yeah, and Hopefully Dombrowski's being aggressive behind the scenes. We're counting down the days. Of course, All-Star break right around the corner, but then the 31st of July is the trade deadline. Last opportunity for you really to take a crack at improving your roster and trying to correct those flaws, albeit you can still call guys up. But bottom line is that is the moment that Dombrowski has to be aggressive. We shall see what happens there. Long way to go. But back at it this evening. And again, Robbie Ray on the mound. Pretty good season for Mr. Ray. 2.68 ERA, 9-3 on the season and 18 starts. So it's not going to be all that easy for the Phillies to get those bats going this evening, especially with Taijuan Walker. I think they're going to have to score a few times. Struck out 117 batters in 107 innings right now. So Robbie Ray having a great year this year. As I said, in 18 starts for the San Francisco Giants. We'll talk a lot more about that game. Of course, a lot more in baseball. We do have some news from the home run derby. I'm excited, man. O'Neal Cruz. O'Neal Cruz is in the home run derby. Let's go. That's a name right there that will pack a punch as far as flair is concerned. Hit me some rockets. I know he's not having the best season. He's overvalued, overhyped. Mark Henry Jr. was pointing that out correctly to the point that I didn't even know he was that bad. I wasn't making the case for him by no means, but I was blown away at how bad O'Neal Cruz really is, because I set the bar high for him. He is a guy that's worth the price of admission. At least I thought that he was. But he's playing for the Pirates. It's a tough spot, but he's got to do better. Anyways, he can hit a rocket or two. So I can't wait to see him in the home run derby. Excited about that. So got a lot to get to. We'll hit on a little bit more from the game. I got Kyle Fisher with me. Plus, I want to talk about Ryan Kirkring and your great piece that you had up a little earlier today. I was able to catch. But I want to go ahead and shift gears if we could. And as I said, I know that everybody's talking about the NFL. We're starting to get that itch. I'm going to the beach this weekend. I'm all college footballed up.
There we go.
The Big 12 media day today. Talking about Texas Tech and how much money that they're getting from them oil tycoons and they're spending it on all things NIL. But football. Top 100. NFL Network has been doing it for a long time, and they're pretty good at it. I will tell you, it's one of those lists that I actually pay attention to. I look forward to it. It's more of the way they reveal it, plus the NFL Films footage, which is the best of the best.
Oh, yeah.
So I dig it. I'm a fan of it. Is it something that I put all the faith in the world? Oh, well, if Top 100 said that this player is this. No, but it's always entertaining. Saquon Barkley is the best player in the NFL. Number one. He should be number one on that list. What do you say to that?
I mean, tell me who's better. We could make an argument all day that quarterback's more important, so maybe the best quarterback in the league should be there, but there's debate on who that is right now. There's not a debate on who the best running back is. I would argue that there's no debate, same guy, of who the best skill position player is in the league on the offensive side. It's almost like he came to Philadelphia and finally became what everybody knew he was going to be. It just took a change of scenery to get there. He had always shown flashes, but Philadelphia's system plus some health, let's be honest, plus a lot of health, he's finally turned into the guy that everybody thought he was going to be. He's taking his seat atop the throne of NFL rankings, if you will, not to make too big of a deal of it. But the guy he showed last year what he's supposed to be, what his explosivity does, what his athleticism is. It's otherworldly. The guy is an incredible player. And if you can make an argument that somebody else is better, I'll sit here and listen to it. But I don't think the list is going to be very long of people who you can honestly come up and tell me can compete with him for that number one spot.
Interesting. So you, if we're and you have a future, I could see you getting invited. Like Jansen, he was a Heisman Trophy voter. I could see you finding a way to be involved with this in years to come. So if you had a vote, if you were filling out that list, and again, there's 100 players. I'm not going to bog us down with that, but focusing on number one, are you putting Saquon Barkley number one heading into 2026?
I mean, I'd have to look at everybody a little more closely, right? You can't just say it off the top of your head, but it's not difficult to imagine that he would be the
wait. Timeout. I need a 20. Hang on. Hey, fair catch. There it is. No, Kyle Fisher.
All right.
I asked you if you were making a list right here, right now for the NFL Network with the NFL films playing in behind you as you're filling out your list, and you had to name the number one player in the NFL as we speak. Who is it?
Number 26, the Eagles starting running back, Saquon Barkley.
There it is. Sometimes I got to pin Kyle down.
You do. You know. I like to play both sides. I like to play both sides out here. I like to stay as neutral as possible. But if you get me going, Sean, I'm going to get it started.
I'm going to get you going too. I'm going to try to get you going. I love it. Good. No, it's all right. So why? Let me ask you this: why did I start that qualifying it where I considered it somewhat warm? It's not warm. It's not hot take. He literally is the best player in the game. All right. Okay. So let's just, what you said first thing is what we're all going to say. Quarterback. Who is it? Mahomes? Is it still Mahomes? It's Mahomes.
Yeah. I mean, it's him. If you want to combine the athleticism, Josh and Lamar bring a little bit more than he does nowadays. We know what traditionally Mahomes has done. But if there's a debate on who the top guy is, it's not always because everybody is elite, right? Sometimes it's, okay, we don't have necessarily the exact top tier that we used to have. Maybe everybody is 1B instead of everybody being 1A. So who's 1A somewhere else? And that's where Saquon takes the leap. It's not to discount what those guys are doing, but look at what a difference he made on an already stellar team, right? He took a team to the next level, a team that struggled at times the year prior, and ran them straight to a Super Bowl where they demolished the defending champions. They demolished the guy you just talked about. And yes, Saquon wasn't out there slamming his hands into Mahomes' face like the defense was, but you can see the difference that he makes. I like watching the behind the scenes where he was speaking to the team beforehand, and all of them had a lot of great things to say, but he just brings this stoicism like, no, we are the better team, and we're just going to go out there and do what we do every single week. I think he helped bring that attitude. It used to, the year where they collapsed the year prior, it felt a lot like they were trying to convince themselves that they were the best team. And then they added the best player in the NFL when it comes to skill position guys, and he showed them what being the best week in and week out really means.
We're getting closer, Kyle. I know you are. You got your schedule yet?
I know that I'm in Green Bay week 1. Green Bay, Detroit in Green Bay week 1. That's all I know. It was a great matchup, but
you're going to Lambeau and some warm weather. Pretty good stuff there.
2 years in a row, lucky. Got some warm weather there last year. The year before was New Year's Day, and it was freezing. So,
good grief, I can only imagine on that. As we just pointed out, NFL season right around the corner. Oh, by the way, the Eagles will open up preseason on August the 7th, 16th, and the 22nd. So those are the 3 preseason games. But folks, September 4th, we're raising a banner with the Cowboys in the building. Here's what I'm going to tell you. If you don't have your tickets, go ahead and check out what TickPick has to offer right here, right now. No hidden fees. TickPick is the official fan experience partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. And as I said, no hidden fees and the lowest price guaranteed. So don't get benched. Grab your seats now at tickpick.com before the best games sell out. Take advantage of everything they have to offer. Download that app. And TickPick needs to be your one-stop shop for whatever event it is. Concerts, games, it does not matter. TickPick has the best prices with no hidden fees. TickPick.com. All right, Kyle Fisher hanging with me here. Got him for the full hour. Sam Oshry is going to join us at 4 o'clock. I know you're not a big hoops guy, but when it hits the timeline that VJ Edgecombe is going to miss game 2 due to a thumb injury for the Sixers, it's just, isn't it funny? Like, you have to laugh, because if you didn't laugh, you'd cry.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. You stole the words out of my brain, Sean. It's like you have to just sigh and giggle, because otherwise tears will stream down your face. It's the classic. The only thing I hope that he avoids is that they have changed the medical staff enough since the Jahlil Okafor Nerlens Noel and early Embiid days where he doesn't come out of it with a torn meniscus, because that seemed to happen every single time somebody went down with one injury. They came out with a torn meniscus a couple weeks later after seeing the Sixers training staff. Don't mean to badmouth all of you. I'm sure that there's wonderful people on that staff, but it seems to be this trend of young Sixers players just got something going on. And to me, thankfully, it's a thumb. If you said anything about his ankle, his knee, his hip, I'd be so worried. Thumb, I'll take it.
Yeah, I tuned in a little bit, and let me tell you, without him on that floor, I was like, I'm out. That's it. See you. You know, and that kind of tells you what type of performance he had in game one. That was really, you know, he really brought some energy, some juice, and it made you think a little bit positive about the team and that pick. And then, of course, it hits the timeline. Oh, well, he's going to miss that game. Thumb contusion. Oh, thumbs up. Pun intended. All right, let's keep it moving. We got a lot to get to. Kyle Fisher's hanging with me for the first full hour. As I said, Sam Oshry in the second hour. We're going to mix it up. We're going to bring it back to baseball. We got to hit on some of the games that are going off, including game 2 between the Phillies and the Giants. We'll take a look at some of the props that matter, some of the numbers that matter. And also, as we are about to hit the All-Star break here, I think it's important for us to assess what's happening around the league. And the AL East has me just dumbfounded at this point in time. And I don't know if we should be banking on the team that's currently in first place. So we're going to talk a little bit more deeper as far as the AL East is concerned with the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and so on and so on. With Kyle Fisher, he's hanging first hour daily ticket. Get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL Gambler. Love to hear your thoughts. First of all, Cuzzi, Phil Cuzzi, Alligator Alcatraz. We cool with that? I kid. Second of all, Saquon Barkley, the best player in the NFL. If you're filling out your list, are you going with him at number 1? If not, love to hear who you would select. Hit us up at Fox PHL Gambler, at Fox PHL Gambler. More after this.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Gear up, music fans. Hyundai is back as a proud partner of the 2025 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Join us as our electrifying all-star lineup hits the stage like never before.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Jammed up on the Schuylkill, westbound from the Boulevard out to Belmont, eastbound Schuylkill 70 from Conchie into Gladwin, then Montgomery into South Street. 309 northbound getting better, approaching Susquehanna Road. A crash there has been cleared. 95 southbound at stop and go from Bridge Street to Allegheny with construction in the right lane. Brendan Joseph, Total Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you want the lowest price. With their lowest price guarantee, if you find a qualifying lower price on the same item, they'll match it. Price match applies to same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how they'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month on experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying forwarded. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
Looking for the perfect outdoor dining experience with a view? Join us at Randall's Restaurant located in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Don't miss out on our summer promotions, including the return of Burgers and Brews Night every Tuesday with delicious chef-crafted burgers paired with a refreshing selection of brews. All-day happy hour on Sundays in July and August, and Wine Fest coming in late August with over 100 different tasting selections and live jazz music. More details at randallslegacy.com. That's randallslegacy.com.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Take me out to the ball game.
Book a stay out of town.
Book a spa package and lounge by the pool.
The kids agree that this trip really rules,
so we'll book an apartment with space for the whole family. And it's 1, 2, 3 clicks away to your perfect Booking.com stay.
The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city. Booking.com, Booking.yeah.
Official accommodation partner of MLB.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Daily Ticket with you here. Kyle Fisher hanging with me. Sam Oshry coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We're going to talk some college football. We got some news in the world of college basketball. I don't know why I'm talking like that when I'm referencing Sam Oshry joining the party coming up at 4 o'clock. But we got some fun topics that we will banter about. Kyle, a couple things that I would like to hear. First of all, hopefully you had a great 4th of July, sir. Hopefully, man, we had 4 straight days of just beautiful weather, sunshine, ice cold Coronas, pool, can't beat it, fireworks. Oh, so good, so good. You're muted, brother.
I'm good. We're back.
There you go.
Man, it's been a while, Sean. That's what that is. We had a week off last week, and all of a sudden I forget how the thing works. July 3rd, got to take the kids to the nice Conshohocken fireworks. It was a wonderful display.
Oh, yeah.
Great time. We forgot my daughter's headset, so she was a little annoyed at first, but she fell in love with it. Once those bright lights start flashing, man, you get over the eardrum ringing, I guess. It was a nice night, though, and then great weekend. Got to spend some time with some family, do some barbecues. I busted out a brand new grill that I got for Father's Day, finally put it together, busted it out myself. And then the Sunday was down at the ballpark with our guy Luke Arcaney, talking to some relievers, taking in some beautiful weather, and, of course, a wonderful performance from Zach Wheeler to cap off an awesome holiday weekend. Oh, yeah.
What a game. Stott goes yard. What a game.
Needed that. Needed that.
Let me hear that again. Of course, Scott Fransky on the call on Sunday, Phillies Radio Network.
Santana, the 2-2. Swung on, blasted, deep right field. That'll do it. Bryson Stott bangs one off the auxiliary scoreboard in right field, and the Phillies have the lead in the 8th.
Oh, it's great when they go yard. And a couple players went yard this weekend, too, or this past weekend. Sosa, Schwarber, Bohm, Stott. Of course, I'm stating the obvious. Get back to that. Give me some long ball action here. And, I know that we are going to stumble into a Bryce Harper conversation and whether or not we should be concerned. What exactly do you think is going on and the overall outlook as this season proceeds here? But, again, we're not doctors either. So we just got to ride with what he says. But again, when you see that type of production from the players that are out there continuously, like Bryson Stott, who needed it more than him to get that home run on Sunday. And of course, that was the go ahead run for them to win the game in about of the eighth.
Well, how about the, this is how close he was to perfect. One pitch down the middle to Austin Hayes of all people. He takes it yard, but he was retired 12 in a row right before that, retired 15 in a row after that. Literally perfect outside of one pitch. Thompson rarely talks perfection and always wants to talk about how they can continue to grow and they learn and whatever. He told us he was like third or fourth inning. I thought, like, this has a chance to be a perfect game, not a no-hitter. He said perfect game after the game, and I think we all kind of felt something special was brewing. They were still that close to losing, and like you said, Stock coming up with the big hit, crushed that thing right off the bat. You knew, so
blasted
to see from him. Had to get that. Also, nice to see Schwarber. We know how hot he was against lefties early in the season. He got a nice little, wasn't a hard hit ball, but to help knock in the first run of the game with a hit off of a left-hander. That's big for him as well to get him going again, especially as Harper struggles in his return.
We don't have announcers these days that have catchphrases, right? Like or sayings like, Harry, out of here, Zoom was lock all windows and close all doors. And he had a couple. Kate, she does a good job. She's professional as hell. Yeah. I just, she doesn't really strike me as someone that has one. Trying to think. Let's see here. Of course, Merrill. I don't really think he's got one. And Merrill's probably. This might be it for Merrill Reese. This might be the end of his tenure as a play-by-play guy for the Philadelphia Eagles, who's been doing it forever.
Yeah.
That's a gold job, man. Could you imagine getting that gig? But, when you think about it from Scott Fransky, the reason why I'm bringing it up, swung on, blasted, that might be because he does it a lot. Hang on here.
He's working on something.
At the end of the 2-2. Swung on, blasted, deep right field. That'll do it.
He does that a lot. He does that a lot. Swung on, blasted. And I love it. It's just pure. God, Scott Fransky's really good at what he does.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Real quick on this, because we'll dive back into Major League Baseball. But saw Sinners over the weekend. Speaking of our weekends, shout out to Mark Henry Jr. has been praising this movie forever now. This is like top 5 on his list of all time. He'll probably kill me if I got it wrong, but it's high on his list. And he was going berserk, and he's like, "You gotta see it." And I'm like, "I can't wait to see it." Michael B. Jordan's an incredible actor. I'm ready to go. No spoiler alerts, but we're going to talk about the movie for just a second. So if you want to hear it, mute me. Promise you no spoilers. However, I went into it not knowing anything about the movie, so I kind of like that as well. But so I'm going to lead into one or two tidbits real quick.
Okay.
Are you aware of Sinners? Do you know the movie? Are you a movie guy, Kyle Fisher?
I enjoy movies, but I don't go to the theater much anymore. I have not seen Sinners yet. I'll watch it eventually, but
what's the last movie you saw at the movie theater?
That wasn't a kids movie. Probably one of the Marvels, probably Age of Ultron or whatever. The Endgame. Endgame was probably the last one I saw in theaters.
What kids movie is the last one you saw?
I think we saw the Garfield movie with my daughter. Because it was a really hot day. I don't think she cared about it at all, but.
Garfield's a good one, man. My daughter loves Garfield. You know what she's big into now? Sonic.
Oh, my daughter, too. She loves it. We were going to take her to see Sonic 3 in theaters when it was still in theaters. And then I have a buddy who has a server, and it was uploaded there. Ended up raining, had a flat tire. Was like, well, we told her we were going to watch it, so let's just watch it at home. And saved ourselves probably $60 by staying at home instead.
At least. Yeah, Jim Carrey's phenomenal, of course, and he's in that role. He's in all 3 of them.
He was supposed to retire and came out of a potential retirement for that role, and he's so good in it. He's like the perfect fit.
Yeah, it's fun when you find a kids movie that you don't mind watching.
Oh yeah.
I'm very lucky in that category. My daughter did like Frozen, but she didn't like fall in love with Frozen. She's like the Moana, which is some good one. It's like Maui's always a good one. But when you watch these movies 100 times, they do get old. Anyways, Sinners was good. I will say Sinners was really good. Great acting, great cast. I just wonder, like, will we ever have the opportunity, and maybe it's just the social media world that we live in, that, hey, look, stay off the timeline and you won't have this problem, Brace, I guess. But it's like I saw an article about how Skip Bayless feels guilty about the movie. And he, it's like, why? And then you have all these think pieces. And it's like, can't we just enjoy a movie for what it's a movie about vampires? It's a horror movie. Like, we don't need to make everything, a Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction or Star Wars. Like, we don't need, like, can't we just enjoy a movie for what it was? It was a good movie. It was a good movie.
Well, a lot of times those things are talking points. I mean, look, we're, baseball's a fun sport, and here we are talking about it and analyzing it, right? Football's a fun game. It's a game you play in the backyard, and we'll analyze it for weeks on end. So it's just part of, like you said, what today's age is and how we consume and interact around and talk about media. The thing that I agree with is that I wish we could just be allowed to enjoy a movie without having to know all of the symbolism and everything all the time. It's awesome that those things are put in there. They're put in there for a reason. It's the artist's vision and the creator's vision, and they should be putting those things in, and it should be talked about in certain circles if I want to go see that, right? But the people I follow, I don't consider anybody to be a cinephile, and I guarantee that if I searched for Sinners on my timeline, I would be inundated with guilt and feelings of remorse and whatever else we're talking about. Like, it's maybe I just want to watch some vampires get shot in the face. Maybe that's just what I want to see.
And I guess it comes back to, like, I didn't feel any of that. I don't know. I was just watching a movie, enjoying it. I was just like, this is a good movie. It was a good movie. I didn't dig deeper into it. There are certain movies. What's the other movie that he Get Out? Get Out was a great movie. Now that one was different. I'm watching that one. You're like, what's going on here, right? This one was a little bit more direct, where I was like, do we really need to make everything a think piece? It's not. It's just a good movie. Enjoy it. It's a horror film that was really damn good, to the point that, like my wife is not a horror fan of horror films. I better be careful how I'm phrasing that. So it's really tiptoeing on that one. So I was even saying to her, I'm like, you would enjoy this. Like, yes, there's blood. Yes, there's graphic, visuals. But at the end of the day, really good film. Just, I think it was long. I think it was like 2 hours. Felt fast, which is always a good sign.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, the cast was great. Michael B. Jordan should, like, I don't know how this works, but if I'm voting, I'm making Saquon Barkley the number one player in the NFL. And, man, he needs to be up because his 2 roles were just incredible. He was insane. So good. So good. Hopefully I sold it to you. It's on Cinemax for free. It's on Max for free.
I'll have to check it out then.
If you need my password, let me know. I'll shoot it over to you.
Done and done.
All right, let's get on over to Major League Baseball. And as I was saying a little earlier, Kyle, it's important that, we look around the league now that we are hitting the halfway point. And one of the divisions that really jumped off the page, and look, when you unplug for 4 days and every day seems to be the same thing over and over, Truman Show, speaking of movies, from July 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, you might not be paying attention to the box scores all that much. And then all of a sudden I look up and the Blue Jays are in first place. And not only are they in first place, they were trailing, I think, 10 games ago by 3.5, 4 games. Yankees were in first place. Now the Blue Jays are in first place, 3.5 game lead on the Yankees. Rays are right there, 49-42. Yankees 49-41. Blue Jays 53-38. Sox 6.5 out at 47-45. O's terrible season, so no reason to bring them up here. But we'll focus on the Yankees, the Rays, and the Blue Jays here, and really specifically the Blue Jays. What are we thinking right now with this team? I was pulling for the Blue Jays like 2 years ago with all the young guns. And I know that some of those guys are still there, Vlad and Bichette, and I get all that. But I was pulling for the Blue Jays, and they just weren't able to put it together. And I didn't see that happening this year. And here we are, though, halfway point. I'll pull up the odds. I'm curious to know your overall feel right now on the division, and are the Blue Jays for real in your mind?
Yeah, we're going to have to see them keep it together through the All-Star break, I think. But they had a nice little stretch at the end of May into early June when they took that series against the Phillies. They've won 9 in a row, and before the All-Star break, they have to finish this series against the White Sox, one of the worst teams in baseball. And then they have a series against the Athletics, one of the worst teams in baseball. So they could keep riding through this month. The decision then becomes, can they outbid the Yankees or do more moves than the Yankees can to stay afloat? Some of the interesting things is that some of the guys that maybe fans from outside of Toronto had given up on, whether it be for fantasy reasons or whatever the reason may be, in like Bichette and Springer, those guys are having resurgent seasons. I don't know if it's hitting coach. I don't know if it's vibes, if it's health, whatever the case may be. The one thing that I would say is traditionally, when I think of the Blue Jays the last few years, I think of strong pitching with a couple names in that lineup. Springer, we know what he can do when it comes to the postseason. Maybe had taken some steps back, but you have Vladdy, you had Bichette, even though last year hopefully was an albatross for his sake. The one thing I'll say about this recent stretch, so the thing I noticed that stood out when I looked at the standings was that they only have a plus 16 run differential. They've only become positive during this 9-game winning streak. So they had a negative run differential for a long time. The offense being pretty solid the last 2 months, I would say. That means that there's some question marks on that pitching staff, and can they compete with everybody who needs an arm this time of year? So if their pitching staff can rebound even a little bit and their offense stays even consistent, they don't have to be as lights out as they've been over the last 2 weeks. But if they can keep consistency, if Springer can stay healthy, if Bichette looks closer to what he did 2 years ago as opposed to last year, they're a serious player in the East. Everybody thought that they would be here for the last couple years, and they kept falling short. Maybe this is the year they put it together, and it just took a little bit of seasoning for those young guys.
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it. And this is a team currently on a 9-game win streak, as Kyle just pointed out. Took 4 straight against the Yankees at home, took 2 of 3 against the Sox in Boston, and then took 2 of 3 against the Guardians, who are struggling in their own right. I think they've lost 10 straight or something like that, if I'm not mistaken, heading into last night. And again, we're talking about teams with expectations there. There were a lot of buildup with all 3 of those squads. Not so much about the Blue Jays. So right now, DraftKings Sportsbook, where we're getting our numbers from, yeah, you can get the Blue Jays at plus 135 to win the division. So you're looking at some plus money. They have a 3.5-game lead, plus 110 for the Yankees, plus 135 for the Blue Jays, plus 500 for the Rays. We'll stop there. And I know when you think about that division, all you got to do is go back to last year and remember how bad the Yankees were for a significant period late in the season, late in the summer, and they were able to flip it around and win the division and, of course, make a run to the World Series. So I'm not saying that this is done by no means, but a plus 135 right here, right now, definitely a little bit less than you would like to be getting compared to what you probably could have got last week, hell, 2 days ago. But at this point in time, plus 135, if you're looking for something to get you involved throughout the course of the second half of the season, I don't hate that play. The Blue Jays are good, man. They got some really good players right now that are seeing the ball well, good pitching going for them, and they've proven their worth against some of the better teams in the American League, and that's not easy to do. So I like the Blue Jays. I'm with you, man. I think that they're finally putting it together as far as seasoning is concerned.
Yeah, and I think they're a team that's not afraid to take a big swing. You know, although this was off season, they were involved in the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes until the very end. They made significant offers for guys like Correa, guys like Judge. They have tried to add an impact player alongside Vladdy, and then obviously getting him to stay will only add to their chances of adding another player who wants to be there for a few years. So whether it comes at this deadline or in the offseason, they're going to be serious players. Their front office clearly wants to compete. And from what I want to see, I want to go up there and check out that stadium, Sean. I've heard nothing but wonderful things. Beautiful stadium. I saw somebody post a video the other day of they've rented the hotel that's attached to the outside. So you open the curtains and boom, there's a baseball game going on. Got to go check them out, especially when they're hot. But I got off track. Just love that video. I see them making moves and staying around for the rest of the season. Winning the division, I don't know, but I think that they're going to be a serious player until late in the season.
Yeah, Springer is the big guy. He's got 16 bombs this year. Bo Bichette has 12, plays a pretty good shortstop. Both are 270-ish hitters, so you'd like to see that average just up a tick or two more. But again,
But huge improvements from what you've had from them average-wise the last couple seasons.
That's true, too. And, of course, with Vlad and his contract that he signed, I knew that, I wasn't saying that he's not good or anything like that. I just was, blown away by that contract. And it's really tough for me to sit here and say that he was worth it. I get it. He's a hell of a player. He's delivering this year. He's got 12 bombs right now, and they're hitting it. Those three guys right there, you got them over about 40 home runs between the three. So that's a big reason why they're having success at this point in time. Again, halfway point, currently lead the American League East, and I think a lot of people would be surprised by that, as I was. Of course, the Tigers have a big-time lead in the Central. No one's touching them, 58-34. Second team in the Central would be the Kansas City Royals, who are 4 games under 500 and extremely disappointing. Twins started off hot. They've cooled down, and then some, 43-47, and the Guardians, who 41-48. Over to the West, the Astros continue to do it. It all starts with the pitching staff that they have, 55-36. The Mariners trail them by 6.5 games, 48-42. I think the Angels are coming to Philly soon, right? Aren't they coming?
Yeah, they're right after the All-Star break. Them and the Boston Red Sox will be in town.
44-46 right now for the Angels in the West. Over to the NL East. Phillies 53-38, currently on top, 1 game in front of the New York Mets. Marlins, the third team there at 41-48, so not too much worry. It's a 2-horse race in that division. Brewers have been playing better, if I'm not mistaken. They're 51-40, currently in second place, trail the Cubs by 3.5 right now. And then over to the West, as the Dodgers, you pointed out, have been struggling. A couple games, haven't looked their best, getting smacked down. 5-5 in their last 10. They still have a 6-game lead on the San Francisco Giants, who the Phillies will be playing this evening. Once again, game 2, DraftKings Sportsbook, where we're getting our numbers from. Taijuan Walker getting the start. So let's get on over to tonight's game and let's get some plays there, if you wouldn't mind, Kyle. Taijuan Walker's expectations for you this evening. Is this one of these games where it's like, yeah, we all think the worst here, but he might actually go in there and give us 4 or 5 solid innings? Where do you stand on the expectation for Taijuan Walker this evening?
Yeah, I mean, I can see him coming out. He's a competitor. He's a guy who wants to prove himself, whether it's here or elsewhere. He wants to prove that he can still pitch at a strong level. He wants to prove that he's a reliable arm, whether it be in the pen or the starting rotation. He gets a chance to go back into a role he's a little bit more comfortable in. He's not stretched out enough to go 5 or 6, but if he can give you 3 or 4 solid innings, even if it's 1 or 2 runs, at some point it becomes on the offense to be the difference maker. So if he can keep the game close, just like Christopher Sanchez did yesterday, there's no reason to think that they can't win a game, and you're really happy with that performance. Like I said, even if it's 3 or 4, you have a couple guys like Seth Johnson and Joe Ross who can go longer to kind of piggyback with him. The tough part is when you look at the numbers, the Giants have hit him pretty well during his career. Really the only guy who hasn't done well against them is Matt Chapman and Rafael Devers, who are both having pretty good seasons. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But Walker has, again, I think they're slugging .405 as a team against him. Not out of this world, but .298 average. If they load the bases, we're in trouble early. We're in trouble. But it's going to be, obviously, he's ready to compete. If his fastball can play up at all, knowing that he's only going 3, maybe 4, that gives him an advantage. But if he comes out throwing 89 in the first inning, I think we're in for a long night.
Speaking of the Blue Jays, they were teammates back in 2020. Robbie Ray and Taijuan Walker both played for the Blue Jays there. And again, the last time there was a 4-game series at Citizens Bank Park where they split Giants and Phillies earlier this year. Robbie Ray did start one of those games and wasn't all that good. Bryce Harper actually went yard on him in that game. He gave up 4 runs, but the 40, I did it again. Almost said it again at 49ers. Damn it, I got football in the brain. The Giants ended up winning that game 11-4. So we'll see what happens tonight.
5 walks from Ray in that game.
One more time.
5 walks from Ray in that game, only 4 innings. So they do have strong arms in the pen. If they can get his pitch count up early again, that gives them a better shot. But he's on another world right now. So
John Fisher checking in. This is the right ballpark to send Taiwan to the bump. Yeah, everything does seem to stay in there. Yeah, it does seem to stay in that ball yard. Again, the breeze is blowing stiff out there. It was chilly. You saw everybody all decked out in the jackets, and man, what a beautiful ballpark. You talk about. I never saw a game at Oracle Park, but I've walked around there. I've been down there when we visited San Francisco to check out everything that was happening down there, and let me tell you. It was early morning, and there was a lot of homeless people behind there by the docks. It's like, I don't know if this is safe. Yeah, we need to keep it moving.
Yeah, let's take a long way.
Yeah, we'll go the other way. Yeah, let's get back on the road. But I mean, just a gorgeous ballpark. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, let's talk about tonight's game. Who's winning? Final score? Who's going off? Are the bats going to be existent this evening? Where do you stand? Let's start with the Phillies' perspective. Who are you looking at?
Well, from the Phillies' perspective, oh man, I like Alec Bohm. I like Alec Bohm coming through. He does well against left-handers. He's done well against Ray in his career. He's 4 for 10. All singles, but he's a guy who's traditionally hit very well with runners in scoring position. They need to break out of that funk. I would think that he would be a guy to do it. I don't know what the numbers and lines are for that, but I think Alec Bohm has a decent game. Bryce Harper is going to be a tough one. He's going to be the guy I want to watch closely. Despite that lefty-lefty matchup and how rough he's looked at times, he has completely owned Robbie Ray in his career, 6 for 12 with 2 home runs. So if there's a chance for him to break out and get comfortable back in the box, it's going to be against somebody he's had a lot of success with. So 3 extra base hits in his 6 hits, 4 ribbies, a couple walks against him. More walks than strikeouts. You have to like that. So I think Harper, this could be the game that he breaks out, and I like Bohm getting some RBIs with runners in scoring position tonight.
Yeah, Ray's given up 6 home runs in his last 4 starts, so that's something to keep your eye on there. Look, I have a hard time believing that Taijuan Walker is going to be masterful this evening. I think that we're going to see a bunch of runs scored both ways. 8.5 is our number here, so I'm feeling the over in this one. Give me a somewhere a double-digit number. I think like maybe 10 runs scored in this one. So I'll take the over on 8.5 total for the game there. Again, I would look at the Giants more so than the Phillies from a batting perspective from props. But you got to go Schwarber here. I just feel like Schwarber is going to be locked in. I know it's lefty-lefty, as you pointed out, but I'm not too concerned about that. Something on the inside, something down low, and Schwarber makes him pay. So I look at total bases. Again, home runs, I think you're really rolling the dice in that ballpark. Although Yastrzemski, man, he's on the list. We were looking at this yesterday, and they flashed it up last night during the broadcast. Always a good thing. You know this. As a man that's behind the scenes that works hard, bringing the information, the right stuff to the broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
When you talk about something on air and then they're showing the same thing, it always feels good. So they were showing the splashdown home runs, and they were talking about how Yaz was on that list a bunch, and it was very surprising. I mean, he's not a big dude. But, man, he can hit the hell out of the ball, man. So I want to give him a lot of credit on that one. To go yard tonight, plus 500. Wouldn't shock me if that was the case and he was able to get one out of the ballpark down there in the Bay Area. But we'll see what happens. Again, looking forward to tonight's game. Hopefully the Phillies can fight back and get a victory here with only a few games left before the All-Star game. It's important to just finish strong. Not looking for anything crazy. Stay healthy. Let's get to the All-Star break and then start the second half of the season next week, late next week. All right, Kyle, great stuff, man. What do you got?
Something real interesting on Walker. So just to go back to John Fisher's comment, this is the right ballpark, not a home run heavy ballpark. Since he moved to the bullpen full-time in June, the only time that Walker has allowed an earned run is if he gave up a home run in that outing. So if he can keep the ball in the ballpark, and this is the ballpark to do it, like John Fisher mentioned, you may see that run total a little bit lower. So that's just something to keep in mind if you're looking at that over.
He knows his name's out there being discussed for potential trade angles, as you pointed out. We'll see, man. Hopefully he gives us a good start here, a couple good innings, and hands it off to the bullpen.
And a great dude also. Let's not forget that. Great dude.
Yeah.
Taijuan Walker. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hopefully Cuzzi's not behind the plate.
I don't think they'll let him do that 2 nights in a row, even if they were allowed to. So,
hey, man, plug your piece on Kirkring. Where can people find it? And give us a little bit on the Cliff Notes, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, of course. So had a nice little conversation rather with Ryan Kirkring, talked to Matt Strom a little bit as well about how successful he's been recently. You can find my stuff over at phillysportsnetwork.com. I also tweeted it out at Kyle Fisher 45. I'm going to pin it to the profile shortly. Just did a little deep dive. He's been the man. He's elevated from what we thought he could be to he is now what everybody expected from him. One of the big things that I've noticed is how well he's used his sinker this year. When he first came up, everybody thought of him as a 2-pitch pitcher, that 100-mile-an-hour heater with the devastating sweeper. That sinker really created that triangle effect where all 3 pitches come out of the same spot, and it can break either way, so you can't really cheat on him anymore. His numbers have been really good. We know that he let up the 2 earned runs charged to his line last night, not necessarily all his fault. But he's matured a lot this year, is really in the right mental place when it comes to bouncing back from a rough outing. And the one thing that I really liked when diving into the numbers, his hard hit rates are all really, really improved. He's top 1% in average exit velocity against him. He's top 3% in hard hit rate, and he has the best weak contact rate of his career. So really I know that he has a short career, but everybody has expected this guy to be the closer of the future, and I think we're finally at that point. I know that they don't name closers on Rob Thompson's staff, but he has become the top dog in that pen. And I did a little dive into the reasons why. So it was a nice conversation, nice piece, had a lot of fun with it.
You are the man, Kyle Fisher. Great job as always. Can't thank you enough for hopping on for
Appreciate
the full
you,
hour. Continue to read you and, of course, find you on socials at Kyle Fisher 45. Good luck on all those plays, sir. We'll catch up later this week. Actually, next week, man. Next week. And football season is here because I'm going to the beach. I got myself my magazines. I'm going to read my fantasy football magazine. I'm going to read myself my college football Phil Steele magazine. I'm going to be locked and loaded next week. Football season starts for us here on The Gambler. Looking forward to mixing it up with you all summer long. Kyle, you're the best.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
There he is, the great Kyle Fisher on the Gambler stream. All right, other side, a lot of hoopla about VJ Edgecombe, and he wasn't available to play last night. Is Sam Oshry concerned? The least bit. I kid, probably not, but we'll also talk a little bit more about that debut that he had over the weekend. Janai Broom seems to be getting conflicting, opinions out there in the timeline. What is he seeing? A lot of NBA and Sixers Summer League. We also have win totals that we're going to mix in as well. Plus, I told him I'm going to jab him with some football conversation on the other side as well. Sam Oshry from The Score joins me next right here in the Daily Ticket. Do not go anywhere more after this.
The Gambler. Philly's home for all things sports.
Summertime
gambling.
is here, and who needs a cool grand in their hand? Fox Sports The Gambler has you covered. Listen weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and at the top of every hour for your shot to win $1,000. Once you hear the keyword for that hour, get on over to foxphlgambler.com and enter to win a grand in your hand. Once again, that's 9 times a day for your chance to win $1,000. Nobody does it like Fox Sports The Gambler in Philly.
Make the most of your summer without stressing your budget. Get the Zip app and pay later. Zip lets you split bigger purchases into smaller payments, online and in-store, almost anywhere Visa is accepted. Learn more at zip.co. Loans through Zip Pay Anywhere and Zip Web Checkout, including any powered by Zip loans, are originated by WebBank.
You see what I see, love?
Our grandson splashing his mom with a cannonball?
You. Having heart failure is hard enough, but now you're having trouble opening the sunscreen. Carpal tunnel acting up again?
Yep, and there are my stomach issues. And how tired I am. I could use a nap.
Let's take a dip, and then we're calling your cardiologist to see what's going on, okay?
If you have heart failure and something's off, it may be ATTR-CM or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. It's a serious heart condition that gets worse over time. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Seeing what I see? Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Michael Delbane, the president and CEO of Welcome America. Welcome America is a public-private partnership with the city of Philadelphia. We're a nonprofit organization whose mission is to conceptualize, plan, and deliver the city of Philadelphia's largest annual celebrations. That includes Wawa Welcome America around July 4th. It includes the Philly Holiday Experience and other special projects throughout the year. Our job is to build community, bring neighbors and neighborhoods together, and provide an opportunity for Philadelphians to celebrate together. The way that we engage the community is we make sure that everything that we do at Wawa Welcome America, from tiny little events in communities all the way up to the concert and fireworks on the Parkway, are 100% free of charge. We remove all of the economic and financial barriers to participate in these celebrations. During the festival, over the course of 16 days, we will also make over 40 museums and cultural institutions around the city available completely free of charge through our free museum program. It's really an opportunity for people to come together to celebrate. We want to make sure that people can do this without having to worry about the price of a ticket. July4thphilly.com. That's our website. It's got a complete lineup of our entire 16-day festival. It's got little hints about things that are coming in the future, as well as our social media channels, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all July4thphilly.com and hashtag July4thphilly.
Comcast Business, powering the engine of modern business, powering possibilities.
Millions of Americans take medicine like Ozempic and Zepbound. Many of them are overpaying by thousands of dollars a year. These GLP-1 medications for diabetes, weight loss, and more may not always be covered by your insurance, but GoodRx can help. GoodRx helps you save every month on prescriptions at over 70,000 pharmacies nationwide. Best of all, it's free to use. Check GoodRx to save on GLP-1s. Just go to GoodRx.com/GLP. That's GoodRx.com/GLP. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Wendy's new Takis Fuego meal is here with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich and small Fuego fries inspired by Takis Fuego chips with a 1-ounce Takis Fuego bag and a drink. Grab yours today. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's while supplies last. Takis and Fuego are used under license.
Hey, this is Lincoln Kennedy. Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by Mercedes-Benz. The Eagles will pick up their Super Bowl championship rings on July 18th. That's a month later than planned due to production issues. After failing in their bid for a third straight win, the Phillies continue their series out in San Francisco tonight. Taijuan Walker takes the mound for Philly. And NCAA basketball tournament officials are meeting this week, and they'll discuss expanding March Madness to 76 teams for both the men and the women. I'm Scott Davidson.
The Mercedes-Benz Dream Days are back with offers on vehicles like the 2025 E-Class, CLE Coupe, C-Class, and EQE Sedan. Hurry in now through July 31st. Visit your local authorized dealer or learn more at mbusa.com/dream.
For millions of kids, school isn't just a place of learning. It's where they can depend on access to healthy food. When school's out for the summer months, many of those meals disappear. But there is a solution. All across the country, there are programs for kids and teens to access free meals all summer long, including resources for eligible families facing tight grocery budgets. If you're looking for resources to help feed your family this summer, visit nokidhungry.org/help. Let's make sure every kid has the happy, healthy summer they deserve.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
It's stop and go on 95 northbound, Allegheny to Bridge Street. Southbound jams from Coppin to Bridge with a disabled vehicle taking out the right lane. Schuylkill eastbound's heavy Montgomery to South Street. Westbound from University to the Vine. Then the Boulevard to Belmont. And Blue Route northbound, that jams getting on from 95 all the way up to Route 1. Brendan Joseph, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Make the most of your summer without stressing your budget. Use the Zip app. With Zip, you can make more happen this summer. From front row at a baseball game to last-minute grocery runs for that BBQ. Zip lets you comfortably pay over time with a flexible payment schedule. You can use Zip online and in-store. Almost anywhere Visa is accepted. Learn more at zip.co. Loans through Zip Pay Anywhere and Zip Web Checkout, including any powered by Zip loans, are originated by WebBank.
Trust Will knows that we'll all eventually need a will. How about right now? Trust Will makes creating your will easy, like while you're lounging on the couch easy. Trust Will is designed by attorneys but customized by you, and all documents are state-specific and secure. Find your plan at trustandwill.com and use offer code MARK now for 10% off. That's trustandwill.com, offer code MARK. Trust Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Terry's Tiny Homes, Terry! Sure, as the only employee of her company, Terry was probably the front runner, but saving money getting personalized discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive, well, that gave Terry the edge. Over Terry.
Terry, Terry.
Keep awkwardly
Terry,
chanting your own name, Terry. You
Terry.
deserve it.
Woo!
Be your own Terry. See if you could save in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, money. That's money. Enter it now.
FoxPHLGambler.com. Once again, FoxPHLGambler.com right now. Hey now, Daily Ticket with you here. Joining me, Sam Oshry from The Score. It looks like he's back from the beach, back from the shore, back at his home. Sam, how we doing today, sir?
I'm great. You're right. I am back. Great July 4th weekend, but it's good to be back with you. Not going to be in studio this week on the Thursday, but we're here today, and it'll be your time to head down the shore and have some fun.
Right. I need it, baby. I need it. I need that sand between my toes, Sam. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I was listening to yesterday, Picks and Roll, when you and Sean Bernard were live, and you guys were fired up about Mr. Edgecombe and his debut for the 76ers in the Summer League. And I know I'm having some fun with you here. It was a Summer League game, but, you know, look, there was a lot to like. When it fill up the box score like he did, 28 points, he was explosive. He was the only reason why I was somewhat entertained as far as that game was concerned. No, let me back it up. He was the only reason why I was watching. So I'm right there with you. It's just, I guess the question I would have is, like, where do we need to put the brakes up? Like when is a little bit too much when we're describing VJ Edgecombe and what he looked like in that first game? And unfortunately, he did not play in game 2.
Well, of course, it's Summer League, so you take it all with a grain of salt. We've seen all-time great Summer League performances result in dud careers, and vice versa. We've seen really bad Summer League performances not really impact a player's career. If you remember Victor Wembanyama in his debut, he struggled, and there was a ton of attention because no one had really seen this guy because he didn't play college basketball, and everyone, this was their first look to see him coming over from France, and he struggled in his Summer League debut. It wasn't awful, but kind of struggled with some physicality. People thought, would he deal with the physicality? And then in year 2, he probably would have won Defensive Player of the Year if he didn't get hurt, and he's probably already a top 10 player in the league. So you always take Summer League with a grain of salt. But it was incredibly encouraging from what you saw from VJ Edgecombe, because he was incredibly dominant, and it was his athleticism. And athleticism usually translates immediately in the NFL. He's going to be one of the best athletes in the NFL, in the NBA. We're already talking football. In the NBA from the second he steps on the floor. So when that athleticism can translate to the NBA immediately. The Sixers got a good one. They got one who's immediately going to be ready. And you saw that in the summer league when nobody could stay in front of him. And his athleticism was on display against, not great competition, but the athleticism is what stood out.
All right. When should we be concerned as Sixer fans as far as the injury is concerned?
You should always be concerned about any time any Sixer gets injured because they're the unluckiest organization in the NBA.
Yeah.
I don't think this is a concern. I think it was super precautionary why they didn't let him play with a thumb injury. I'm not sure if he'll play in Vegas. I think he will. If I had to guess, he will. But it's the summer league. There's no reason to risk anything. He has even the tiniest bit minor injury. You sit the guy. This isn't going to be a long-term issue at all. We'll see if we see him in Vegas, maybe for a couple games. He also might be too good for summer league at this point because a lot of players play a couple games in summer league and then it's just like, all right, they don't really need these reps anymore. They're too good for summer league. We see that with some of the top picks all the time. So Sixers might pull him early for that reason. That has nothing to do with an injury. It's not a concern right now, but anytime a Sixer puts on the Sixer uniform, there's always a concern with injury.
All right, let's talk about Mr. Broom, Johni Broome, who was an incredible player in college at Auburn, who had a fantastic career. And if you dig up what he was at Morehead State, had to transfer, like the story isn't, it's great, but it's a different ball game. It's a different league, point blank, period. End of story when it comes to competing in the NBA, athleticism. So where are we at right now? 2 games into his summer league career. But what we do know, this is a guy that we've watched for the last 2 seasons. This is a guy that did not sneak up and is all of a sudden on our radars. We are very familiar with his game. We know what it takes to compete in the NBA. But through 2 games, I feel like it's split, Sam. I feel like I'm seeing people going, the Sixers got a steal. Oh, my goodness. Watch out for Johni Broome. He's a great – I mean, I could pull up the timeline. A legit perimeter threat. What are you saying about Johni Broome's game right now with the Sixers? Again, caveat, only 2 summer league games here.
I'm not sure you've watched those 2 summer league games and came away impressed with Johni Broome in any way. I get he did make 2 threes in each game. And if he can continue to extend his range as a 3-ball shooter, that will help him his NBA career. But we're still talking about a guy who had one of the worst verticals in combine history. The guy just can't jump. He doesn't have enough athleticism, and he's not strong and big enough to compete with bigs down low. And he's also an overrated passer. I know Bernard and I have gone back and forth on this. He made great passes at Auburn because he was constantly being double teamed. But those double teams aren't going to come in the NBA. He's not good enough to ever be doubled in the NBA. And also, a lot of these double teams in college, they're college player double teams. So these double teams are coming when the guy's you're facing the guy, and it's just not how you're supposed to double. You should double when his back is turned to you. So it's easy to pass out of double teams in college, which he did a good job of. He's not like some unique passer with great vision. So he doesn't have that part to his game. Sure, he made a couple threes. He didn't finish that well in these 2 games in summer league. I'm just not impressed, and I don't think he's going to be a part of this front court depth and this rotation for the Sixers, especially when the guy we should be talking about is Adam Bona for the Sixers, who's been great in these 2 summer leagues. Really good finisher around the rim, good rebounder. He's also a really good screen setter. This guy, every time he sets a screen, I can just imagine him setting a ball screen for Maxey and Maxey getting so much space off the dribble to get downhill. He creates so much space for players with his screens. So I think Adam Bona is the front court guy that we should be talking about after these 2 summer league games because he will be in the rotation and he will get serious minutes whether Joel Embiid is out there or not. And I don't think Johni Broome is that guy who will be playing if Joel Embiid or when Joel Embiid misses time.
Yeah, Broome shooting 44%, 4 from 9 from behind the arc through 2 summer league games. And I sent this to you guys last night. Keith Smith, who I am not too familiar with Mr. Smith, but a lot of you are, with 170,000 followers. I think he did stuff for ESPN at a time. Currently contributes to Front Office Show and Spotrac, Spotrace. Again, has a great following. And he tweeted that he's trying, quote, "I'm trying not to overreact to Summer League, but Johni Broome was a steal." It's like,
I don't understand like what you were watching. We looked at the 2 threes are impressive in each game, 2 threes in each game, sure. But other than that, he hasn't finished well. Like if you look at the first game, he's 4 for 11 from the field, only grabbed 5 boards. He was a minus net rating, or excuse me, minus plus minus in each of the 2 summer league games. I don't understand what you're watching where you saw that he impacted winning that much, or was that talented as a prospect. So I don't know. Maybe it was one play. He hit a 3 or something, and then that he tweeted that in reaction to that. But in general, I don't see where this guy's going to be an awesome prospect came from in these 2 games.
All right, what about next year as far as minutes are concerned? I want to dive into this, and this is off of what they did in the past 2 days, of course, given contracts. Kyle Lowry back, and you're just like, all right, like what are we doing right now? When it comes to Janai Broome, as far as having an opportunity to play some legit minutes for the Sixers next season, what do you say to that?
No, I don't think so. I don't think he will, especially because Adam Bono will be ahead of him in the rotation. And I just don't think he's not athletic enough and he's not big enough to contend down there with guys. If he really develops into a great 3-point shooter who can stretch the floor, then maybe. But I'm not trusting that just based off of 2 summer league games or really small sample size that this guy is now a legitimate 3-point threat where you can put him out there to space the floor. So I don't think he's going to be in the Sixers rotation. He shouldn't be. He's not good enough to be. And look, he's a second-round pick for a reason. Most second-round picks aren't in the rotation ever in their career, but definitely not in their first season in the NBA. So there's no expectation for him to be in the rotation. You just brought up something interesting, though, and I want to talk about this. The Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon signings that people are completely up in flames about. I mean, Sixers fans are pissed. Have you seen the reaction to these 2 signings?
I am one of these people like, wait a minute, what is going on? I know there's going to be some new blood. You take the floor. I want to know your thoughts when these signings came down. You can go separate, whatever. But I think I'm under the impression that just because they're signed on July 8th doesn't mean that these guys are going to be getting run come November, will be on the roster come November. I get it. Contracts, stipulations, all that I am not privy to. I did not pay attention to the details, so I don't know if that's the case. But why are these guys just locks to make the roster? Just because they're signed in July, like they can move off of them with ease, and they are up there in age. I have no issues bringing them into camp, letting them be the veteran leadership, but I don't expect that these guys are going to be fulfilling roster spots. Both of them. Let's just put it that way. I don't think both will be on the roster this year. Am I off?
I think both will be on the roster next year. I don't think you sign them to these. Obviously, it's veteran minimum guarantee, but it's a very small amount of money, but it's still guaranteed contract that they're signing them to. So there's no reason to really even make that move without the expectation they'll be on the roster come training camp. My thing with it is I don't have a problem with them taking up 2 of the final roster spots because the Sixers' goal this offseason was to get younger and to get more athletic. They did that with VJ Edgecombe. You can look at Quentin Grimes as an acquisition because he was a midseason acquisition, never really played with a team. He is a young, athletic backcourt partner for Tyrese Maxey. Jared McCain's return, young, athletic. They did a good job of getting younger and getting athletic to win more regular season games and withstand some injuries and gain depth. So Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry are not going to be in the top 10 or 12 even in the rotation. I don't think those guys or those guys are like the 13th and 14th guys on this roster. So what the Sixers had to do was get younger, get more athletic. But we also know the Sixers for years now under Joel Embiid have struggled with leadership. This team is not a team that has relied on player-led leadership. And I think Tyrese Maxey's taking a ton of steps in that direction, but he's still a young guy. It is worth having the balance of veteran leaders and young role play and young depth. And I think the Sixers accomplished that perfectly. So I don't have a problem with these 2 guys. Yeah, I get everyone's concern when it's the Sixers because they deal with so many injuries. And a lot of times the 11th and 12th man has to play. And if you have to rely on Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon, that's a problem. But those 2 guys are not going to be in the rotation in the playoffs if the Sixers get there and they're even somewhat healthy. So I don't have a problem with them taking up those final two spots because you're getting veteran leadership what the Sixers need. And I think Morey did an awesome job of balancing the veteran leadership while also gaining youth and athleticism and depth. And I don't expect those 2 guys to play. I think they'll be on the roster come training camp and come opening day, but I don't expect them to play.
Yeah, and plus Wofford, bringing him in. What's the kid from Wake Forest too as well? Bringing him in, giving him an opportunity. So, like, there are other players that did fill those categories that you're able to check the categories, getting young and more athletic. Kyle Lowry was not a shock to me. Gordon was. It was surprising. Like, Really? Why? I'm sure
It's
that
Daryl
there
Morey's
is.
guy. It's Daryl Morey's guy.
There you go. There you go. Lowry was not a shock to me, and I was actually great bring Kyle Lowry. He was a very vocal leader last year, and I get it. Didn't work out all that much, understood. But I'm in your camp on that one. I didn't have too much of an issue as far as Lowry. Both, you're wondering what the hell's going on, but I like I said, I'll ride with you on this, Sam. Maybe I was a little too over the top by saying that one will get cut. Okay, but they're not going to be playing minutes. They're not going to be getting significant runs, so I'm not even going to be worried about it. All right. Anything else from the summer league catching your attention again from Sixers perspective through 2 games right now?
Not really. I mean, Justin Edwards has been fine, not great, but he's had to take on a huge role in the summer league team, and he's not a high usage guy. Like, he is a guy who will be a role player and a low usage role player, and I think he's going to have an awesome season from the Sixers. I have high expectations from him, and he will be part of the rotation and potentially a key part of the rotation as some star players like Paul George and Joel Embiid deal with injuries, and they have to rely on some of their depth. So I haven't been super impressed with him, but he has such a high usage role in this team, and that's not what he does. He is a low usage guy. He's not a table setter. He needs the table set for him. So I haven't been that impressed with him, but that doesn't worry me at all. I love what I'm seeing from Adam Bona. Other than that, not much really of note. Of course, Vegas Summer League hasn't even started yet. We're still in the Salt Lake League at this point for the Sixers, which is, I don't even know why they make teams play in that summer league. We should just do all 30 teams in Vegas, which it is how it is, but don't make them play an appetizer in Salt Lake or San Francisco or somewhere else. But nothing really too else of note.
All right. From the weekend, I didn't have an opportunity to talk to you, but a big name that a lot of Sixers fans wanted back, and I think for both of our takes, if I'm not mistaken, Yabusele was a guy we both wanted back. He filled a role. I didn't think it was the end of the world that he did not resign, but he did do an interview over the weekend where he was saying, I was planning on going back, but they did not give me anything worth a while. And he went in to say, I didn't have any real issues over there. I'd want to leave. No, I was like, okay, if they want to resign me and they give me something good, I will come back for sure. And if they want me to leave, then I will leave. And essentially he went on to say the offer, it was really, really low, to be honest. Anything there for you on that one that maybe Morey might have missed the mark on bringing back a piece like Yabusele?
The reported offer was around $2.1 million. So obviously a low ball offer compared to what he got from New York, which was around $5.7 million. You're going to take the more money in that situation, even if you really love Philadelphia and are grateful to Daryl Morey and the Sixers organization for bringing you to the NBA. From Daryl Morey and the Sixers perspective, my understanding is that in order to sign Gershon Yabusele, they would have had to waited until they actually signed Quentin Grimes, who is a restricted free agent. And Quentin Grimes, as a restricted free agent, the Sixers can't sign him until he'll get an offer from somewhere else, and then the Sixers have the option to match that. And the Sixers will, of course, match that. But they couldn't even have the option of signing Gershon Yabusele until they see what that offer comes in at for Quentin Grimes. But the restricted free agent market has been really weird this year, where there's not a lot of movement on it, like Grimes, Jonathan Kuminga, some other key restricted free agents. There's been no offers or even counter offers for those two guys. So it's been a weird year for the restricted free agent market. So the Sixers prioritize Quentin Grimes over Gershon Yabusele. That's the bottom line. And I think that's the right decision. When you look at what they need in terms of a backcourt partner for Tyrese Maxey, Quentin Grimes can be that guy. He can play off the ball alongside Maxey, but he also got a lot of on-ball reps for the Sixers last year and proved himself. And he's really young. So signing him to a guaranteed few-year deal is worth it. And then you can have McCain coming off the bench. You'll have Oubre there as well. So I like prioritizing Kelly Oubre over Gershon Yabusele. Even though Gershon Yabusele was awesome, he's going to have a huge impact for the Sixers. It sucks. It went to their rival. Out of all the teams he could have gone to, it went to one of their rivals in New York. But I think it was the right decision prioritizing Quentin Grimes over Yabusele.
Well said, Sam Oshry. You can find him on socials. First letter, last name, Soshttry. Find him at The Score as well. Yeah, great segue. We're going to talk about the Knicks finally getting their guy as well, Mike Brown. But yeah, it's one of those deals where it's like, okay, let's get Grimes here. And I think that now we're going to start to see it a little bit differently. Like right now, I think people are still getting bogged down with Embiid and Paul George in the lineup, and they're not going anywhere. I understand that, but start to fill out this roster, bring back an important piece to Grimes, who played well in a limited opportunity last year. I fully expect him to do the same thing next year, maybe in a little bit more of an increased role. What are we thinking as far as him? If they're going to pay him the money that I don't know if he's going to want, I don't think he's going to get that. But if they're going to pay him top dollar, he's going to have an expanded role this upcoming season, correct?
I think I saw originally he was looking for like $25 million a year. It's like, all right, know your role and know your worth for a second here.
I want to go to Vegas next week too, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think I can make it. Yeah.
Before we get too crazy with that. But he is going to get a decent amount of money, and it's well-deserved after the showing he put on for the Sixers in the second half of the year, even though they weren't playing for much. He is, like I said, he is going to be the starter alongside Tyrese Maxey. So however you pair it, it's probably going to be Tyrese Maxey, Quentin Grimes, Joel Embiid, Paul George, and Kelly Oubre. And I think that's the smart move, because if you have a backcourt with Jared McCain and Tyrese Maxey, that's an electric offensive and shooting backcourt. That is a really small defensive backcourt who will be targeted relentlessly, and that would be a bad point of attack defense, especially because Embiid probably doesn't have the lift that he once did, and he's not the rim protector that he once was. So I like pairing Grimes with Tyrese Maxey for defensive purposes, but also because Quentin Grimes can play off the ball and he can play a ton of on-ball reps and give Tyrese Maxey some relief, because Tyrese Maxey earlier in his career was more of a two-guard. He played a lot off the ball, and he's really developed as a point guard. He's really developed as a playmaker, and that pick and roll with him and Embiid when they're both healthy is unstoppable. But Tyrese Maxey has the ability to play off the ball, and you give Quentin Grimes some of those reps. So I think Quentin Grimes is going to fit in perfectly with Maxey throughout a full season, and then they have the depth with McCain coming off the bench, of course, VJ Edgecombe coming off the bench for that backcourt. So I think Quentin Grimes is going to have a huge role, and that's what they're paying him for, and that's why they're prioritizing him.
Starting to get the juices going, Sam. Starting to believe.
Let's go.
Watch out. 76ers.
I know your stance come October, though. You'll be out before the season starts. Once Embiid's ramping up again.
Yeah. Like I can't handle that. So if we could somehow make it past the ramping up and game one, he's out there ready to go. Game two or game three, just something in the first week. All right.
Well, why not game one? What are the percentages right now you think he'll be out there game one?
Very low.
But like, why could he play in the second week of the season, but not the first week of the season?
I don't think he'll be playing in the second week. I think that they're going to somewhat concoct that same type of, cocktail where they were serving all last year. Just get us to the playoffs. He's got to be healthy.
I think they learned their lesson. They must have learned their lesson.
Yeah. No, because it's all about winning a championship.
Yeah,
you don't get anything from playing in the regular season in their mind.
Yeah, but you have to win a championship, you have to get to the playoffs. And when you don't prioritize the regular season, you can't get to the playoffs, which is what we saw last year, which is a big part of their failures last year that I think they learned from.
So you think Morey has a different way of going about business this year?
If he doesn't, then this guy is not who he thought he was, as some innovative genius that everyone likes to call him as a basketball genius. Because how do you not learn from your past experiences in anything in life?
I'm with you there. I'd just play him. If he's ready to go, you got to get him out there, and he needs to be ready to go. Like, let's play. Let's start rewarding the fan base for being there. Let's get out there and play some damn ball and make it entertaining at the end of the day. All right, well, let's go ahead and get on over to New York. And speaking of the East being open, I think that's got to be something that appeals to Daryl Morey and the 76ers. Hey, look, it's there for the taking. A lot of injuries. Of course, Halliburton's been ruled out today, officially going to miss the whole season. So the Pacers are going to be dealing with a ton. Of course, lost Miles Turner. Boston, we know what's going on with Tatum. I'm looking at the Knicks right now, Sam, and regardless of who the coach was, like even if Tibbs was in there, I might be on your camp. Like, this is the Knicks' year. They need to put it together and make it happen. The Cavs are good. I know that the Magic are building something down there, and they could probably be a little bit better from three-point shooting perspective this upcoming season, but still, I don't think I'm going to be buying into what the Magic are selling as far as winning a championship or representing the East in the NBA Finals. I think the Knicks have a golden opportunity to do it. Mike Brown was officially hired today. Two-time NBA Coach of the Year. I have had to have an opportunity to talk to you about Mike Brown and the Knicks. Wide open for the taking, Sam Oshry. Is Mike Brown the right guy for the job?
I think so. I think Mike Brown is a really good coach. I really like him as a coach. And it's not really fair to compare him to Tom Thibodeau. I don't think he's the coach Tom Thibodeau is, but it's not really fair to do that comparison game. Tom Thibodeau's in the past. They made a decision. They have to live with that decision, whether it was the right or wrong one. We'll find out in the next few years to come. I think Mike Brown is a really good coach. I think he's an innovative offensive mind, even though he's known for kind of his defensive principles, and his teams were always really great defensively. But then he took over the Kings, and the Kings had the best offensive rating in the league. And at the time, that year when the Kings were the 3 seed, it was the best offensive rating in league history. And it was an innovative offense where with a ton of dribble handoff action between Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk, and he unlocked Kevin Huerter, and he unlocked Keegan Murray and all these wing shooters. And I expect him to do the same for the Knicks offense, because this Knicks offense was worse in the second half of the season than they were in the first half. And a big part of that was because of the underutilization of Mikal Bridges, where Tom Thibodeau just relegated him to a role as a spot-up player in the corner. And he can do that. He is a really good spot-up player, but Mikal Bridges is also a guy who can make plays with the ball in his hands. You want him getting ahead of steam downhill. He can run zoom actions. He can run dribble handoffs. He can do all these different things where you're getting him coming downhill into his pull-up jumpers. He last year was the lowest attempts he took at the rim in the last few seasons. He was not getting to the basket. He was not getting to the free throw line. His free throw attempts were way down. So you want to see him start attacking the basket again. I think those are some of the things that Mike Brown will unlock and put the ball in Mikal Bridges' hands more, get Jalen Brunson playing off the ball more for rest purposes, also because he's capable of it as a spot-up shooter as well. And the other thing is, offensively, you want Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns to unlock that two-man game, that pick and pop, which the Knicks have completely abandoned in the second half of the season, especially in the playoffs. Those two guys have to work together. And now the Knicks finally have a bench. Mike Brown prioritizes the regular season. We know he practices really hard, which is a departure from what Tom Thibodeau used to do with his approach in practices, where those guys rested a ton during practice and rarely practiced during the season. But now Mike Brown and the Knicks have a bench that they're going to utilize with Jordan Clarkson, with Gershon Yabusele, with Mitchell Robinson healthy at the start of the season, and of course Miles McBride. So I think this Knicks team had a great offseason, both from a roster perspective and from the right hiring of a coach. The only thing is, the Knicks are completely judged off whether they win or don't win a championship. That is the only thing that matters at this point. Tom Thibodeau was really close. He brought them to the first Eastern Conference appearance in 25 seasons. At this point, the only question is for Mike Brown to take them over the top, which is essentially you got to win the title. So that's what Mike Brown's going to be judged on more than anything. And the reality is, Mike Brown, as good of a coach as I think he has not won a playoff series as a head coach in over a decade. When he was with the Lakers back in like 2013, I believe it was, which was Kobe's last playoff series win too. Or maybe it was 2012, around that time. So Mike Brown has to win playoff series. And we don't know the type of coach he is necessarily in those settings, but that's what he's going to be judged on.
That's fair. No, you're right. I think we get too bogged down. Again, you're 100% right. But I just think, and especially from New York's perspective, those fans, like, they enjoy the regular season. They party. They get nuts. As they should. I think we all should. We all need to enjoy the regular season when it's something that's enjoyable. Sixers, no. But what the Knicks did last year, and just because they didn't win at all, I get it. You got a lot of those people that, the celebrities get the microphones in front of them. I want to see a championship. But at the end of the day, if you're a Knicks fan, did you not have fun that whole damn year? Was that not an enjoyable run as far as the playoffs and beating the Celtics? Nobody had you beating the Celtics.
But expectations change. It's the same thing with the Sixers when Embiid's coming onto the scene. It's like, oh, this team's fun. This team's fun. Embiid's a great player. He's paired with Ben Simmons. This team is winning playoff series in the first round. They're winning a ton of regular season games after years of being awful and an embarrassing organization. And then you start to flame out in the playoffs, and it's like, It's championship or bust at this point because that's all that matters. And the Knicks are kind of at that spot, especially in a wide open East where this Knicks team and this roster is the best team and the most talented team in the Eastern Conference. Without Tyrese Halliburton on the Pacers and without Jason Tatum on the Celtics, it's between the Cavs and the Knicks. Yeah. And I'm giving the Knicks the edge just a little bit. So there's no excuse for this team not to at least make the finals. So expectations change once you have a little bit of success.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Cat, Brunson, everything that they've been able to put together, what we saw last year. I'll give you I'll ride with you on that one too. I'm with you on the Knicks there. It's funny you brought up Ben Simmons. I follow a lot of these accounts on Twitter where I should not, but I will get hit like if something is on special for shoes, right? It's like boom. I forget what the exact account names are, but like I'll follow these accounts and they'll pop up all these cool things. And then now more than ever with the algorithm /AI, that's really troublesome because I am the worst. I had to agree with my wife that if I see something, I can't buy it immediately. I have to wait 5 days and then I can go back and buy it.
Well,
no question.
Why is that rule in place?
Because I'm one of those terrible humans where it's like, oh, I see that. Boom. Let me throw the credit card in there. Boom. Let me buy it. If I see it, I want it. Oh, that's awesome. Now the algorithm's got us so figured out that they're flashing everything that's cool in front of us, that they know what you like. So yeah, it's more important than ever to say, hold up, I'm not buying it today. If I come back in 5 days and it's there, same price, sure, I'll get it. Whatever. Anyways, with that being said,
what does this have to do with Ben Simmons?
I see this long-winded here. I see this tweet pop up. Mitchell and Ness /Fanatics running like this crazy special, this clearance up to 70% off of all these official jerseys, to the point that like NFL jerseys, I look at this DK Metcalf from the Seahawks, pretty strong, really good. $130 down to $29.99. All jerseys underneath $30. Ben Simmons LSU jersey, strong. At one point in time, I thought long and hard about buying that. I would never now. I'd wipe my you-know-what with that thing right now. $29.99, strong jersey there, but it's pretty funny. I bring it up also long-winded to say the cheapest one out of all of them is Carson Wentz Indianapolis Colts jersey. You can get that for $19.99. Strong. Wow. A lot of Durant, a lot of Kevin Durant, Phoenix Suns jerseys, Chris Paul Suns jerseys. Really good selection right now, but there's a huge special going on at Fanatics. I like this DK Metcalf though, man. I do this all blue DK Metcalf. Look at that.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
I know he doesn't play with them anymore, but why not?
The most used jersey at like frat parties circa like 2016, 2020 was probably that LSU Ben Simmons jersey.
Was it?
That was an awesome, awesome jersey. Maybe even like a little post that time. It wasn't the Sixers one. It was the LSU one because LSU were just cool colors and Simmons was a great player back then. So that was a very used frat darty jersey. I will say, would you rather wear a Carson Wentz jersey or Ben Simmons jersey? Because to me, it's Carson Wentz easily.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz didn't quit on the team. Like Ben Simmons quit on the Sixers. Carson Wentz just things happen and he sucked by the end.
I think he kind of quit too, right? I think we could make the case that he quit on the Eagles.
I mean, he got benched. Like it wasn't like Ben Simmons refused to play.
Yeah. No, you're right. I want nothing to do with Ben Simmons. Somebody was on this show the other day talking to me about how it was excuse me, forgive me, Matt Jericho. He was sitting down and he's helping up and are doing a lot of stuff. And he's a Knicks fan. He's like, Ben Simmons, they're talking about. I'm like, no, dude, you want nothing to do with that guy. You want nothing to do with that guy. Zero. Like, even if he comes and joins the Knicks and gives you some good minutes and gives you some good run, like that dude is a liability on the floor at big time moments. So you would get used to using him. And even if like in the wildest imagination that all of a sudden he was somewhat of a good basketball player, where you can count on throughout the course of a regular season, you get to the playoffs, he's a liability on the floor. You want nothing to do with him.
Usually this is the best time of year for Ben Simmons July highlight clips of him in the gym, of him posting on his own Instagram story of him working out in the weight room and at the whatever that gym, of Lifetime Gym in New York. And
there you
his
go.
trainers posting clips of him, but you haven't seen that as much this year. Maybe the Ben Simmons summer workout videos have died because that was a good run for like the last 5 summers.
Talk to me a little bit more about the Summer League. Ace Bailey. Did you see anything from Ace? I saw a nice dunk. He racked up 18 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. looks the part. It's a shame that he didn't want to come to Philadelphia because he does look good and he's skinny right now. I would imagine he's going to fill out and he's going to be a hell of a player.
The only game I watched of him was the first game against the Sixers, because the Jazz, of course, played the Sixers, and he struggled in that game. He only had 8 points, 3 for 13 from the field, 1 for 5 from 3. And one of the things he struggled with, which was one of the big concerns, was his efficiency and his shot selection. So I did see that he had much better performances. I didn't catch those. But again, you're not going to find out much for what Ace Bailey is as a prospect in Summer League. We're going to have to see it play out during the regular season on an awful, awful Jazz team that has an 18.5 win total, one of the lower win totals in a long time. And that's a year coming off a year where they just won 17 games.
We do have a big-time matchup in the Summer League that's taking place for the Thomas and Mack Center out there in Vegas between Cooper Flagg and you got Bronny James. Did you see that there are ticket averaging $201 to get in to see these two play?
I saw. Unbelievable. It's the most expensive Summer League ticket ever. And Summer League has become such a commercialized event and a huge fan affair. And there are some good, unique fan experiences there. So it's become so popular. I think it's been going on for 21 years now. Wemby's debut was just as big. But now you have Cooper Flagg, who's obviously a main attraction, one of the best American prospects we've seen in decades, against Bronny James, who will always attract a huge crowd. So I think that the NBA did that for a reason, scheduling the first day, Thursday night, 8 p.m., Cooper Flagg versus Bronny James. Good scheduling by them.
Yeah, July 10th, as Sam just pointed out. Yeah, look, Vegas is cool. I know Sean was out there. He spoke a little bit about that. They got a lot going on. You can go out there. There's tons of agents. I know referees do stuff. I forget, they scout the referees, obviously, to see who can potentially be coming up and making moves to the G League and so on and so forth. Big business around the Summer League in Vegas. I don't know about Utah, but definitely in Vegas. So, it's definitely something I wouldn't mind checking out. And if I can make that game to see Cooper Flagg get his first start, I think that'd be pretty cool. But I don't know about paying $201.
Yeah, that's a lot. But the Summer League, I went a couple years ago, thinking about going this year. It still could be on the table, but probably not for Thursday. It's an awesome event, and it's just the access that fans and NBA personnel have to each other, where it's just a blended atmosphere because of just how these gyms are set up, where a couple of the gyms are like high school gyms. And just everyone, some of the best players in the NBA, some of the top coaches, executives are all courtside. So everyone's just in this high school gym watching these prospects. So Summer League's an awesome experience. Most NBA fans should check it out at some point. The only problem is that it's 110 degrees in Vegas this time of year.
The Sixers were in Orlando Summer League way back. I think it was 2013, somewhere around there, and they won the championship. I had a banner made. I had a Summer League banner made for the 76ers when they won that championship.
That was the start of the process.
That's right, man. That's pretty funny stuff there. I need to go dig that one up and see if I still have that. But all right, we did have the official trade go through, 7-team trade. Kevin Durant. Isn't it just funny how it all takes place? You have to add these teams and meet this number, and then that's why Durant really couldn't go too crazy into it. But he did have an interesting phrase in his letter that he thanked the Phoenix Suns, where he said, "I really do feel like we're all in this together, a true basketball community." And I think that that's more 2025 than ever. I don't know. Like Kevin Durant's trying to make this seem like, and he can, because he's one of the greats and he has played for a number of teams and he's picking his destination essentially. So he's doing it his way. But I don't know. I don't want my players feeling like this is a basketball community. I want them, I want to be on the best team. I want to have the best team here in Philadelphia. I want the best players on this team. I don't want to think that we're all in this together. Am I off on that one?
I don't even know what he means by that. Those are just empty words, a basketball community. And
a lot of comments underneath were saying, "Did GPT write this?" Yeah,
that is exactly some AI generated statement when he couldn't care less about the Suns, and he's been open about how much he was not a fan of the Phoenix Suns fan base and how much they got on him and blamed him unnecessarily for some of the Suns' disastrous seasons, really. And there's some truth to that, because Kevin Durant the record with Kevin Durant, especially last year, was really good. It was also really bad without him. So there's some truth to the fact that Kevin Durant doesn't deserve all the blame for how it went down with the Suns. But the reality is they traded all these assets for the guy, and they got zero success out of it. One playoff series win during 3 playoff runs, and not even 3 playoff runs, 3 potential playoff runs, because they didn't even make the playoffs the last season. So just a disastrous few seasons with the Suns, but those are empty words to me. They mean absolutely nothing. And I think we know he was ready to move on from the Suns, as the Suns were ready to move on from him.
Yeah. We'll see what happens out there in Phoenix, but they're going through it. And of course, Booker's still there, so that's a good thing. But we'll see what their plans are. And Chris Paul is still available. I saw he announced that it's going to be his final year. Where do you think he ends up?
Right now, I would say the Clippers. I think he wants to be in LA. He's been pretty open about that. The Lakers really have nothing to offer. And I think the Clippers have a need for a point guard who's not going to give you more than 20 to 25 minutes a night. He actually played 82 games last year, which is incredibly impressive.
Yeah.
In his 20th season, I believe it was. So I think he'll end up with the Clippers as this low usage point guard or low minute point guard guy. And he'll be a good table setter for guys like James Harden, who he plays off the ball, Kawhi Leonard. They just got John Collins in a trade. They have a ton of depth with adding Brook Lopez in free agency. So I think that's a good spot for him to finally chase a ring on a contending team in the West.
All right, finally on this one, Shams, we joked about it, was saying that this is going to be the most explosive offseason ever in NBA history, trades and everything along those lines. Are we done? Do you think we see more? Is that it? Because I think if Shams got it wrong, if this is all we get, right?
Probably. I mean, I think the lack of free agent signings leads to actually more trade movement, because the free agency market is dried up so much, because most of these players are signing extensions before they become eligible to be free agents, or the superstars are requesting trades and getting with the new organization and then signing an extension before they have the opportunity to become free agents. So the free agency market has completely dried up in recent years, but that also leads to more teams making trades to get better and improve their roster. So I think we've seen that this offseason, and I don't think it's done. I mean, if you remember last year, the Karl-Anthony Towns Julius Randle trade was in October. It was right before the training camp even opened. So I think we could be seeing movement like that as the summer ends and the fall comes around. But I think for now, it's mostly done. I mean, Jonathan Kuminga is the big one, where it's like, where's he going to end up? He's a restricted free agent. We expect Quentin Grimes to be back with Philadelphia. I'd be 99% sure about that. So I think it's done for now, but I don't think it's done by the time the season starts.
All right. Well, we got a long way to go talking all things NBA. When I come back from the shore, we're going to be mixing in some college football, some NFL with Sam Oshry from The Score.
Let's do it. I'll have read the Phil Still magazine by the time you're back from Avalon.
My man. And we did have news in college basketball. They are trying like hell to add teams to the tournament. It's so stupid. It's just so dumb. It makes no sense other than just a couple extra dollars, getting some of these big name teams in there. But like, even this article by Matt Norlander today on CBS Sports was like, dude, it's going to change things so much that people are going to have a hard time to fill out the bracket. And I mean this when I say this, like, it doesn't surprise me, right? But I would just say, like, that's got to be important. It has to be, to the powers that be, because that's what people like. They want to fill out the bracket. It's one of the reasons why we always tune in. I don't know. Like, is it going to shift so much that people aren't going to be the diehards? They're not going anywhere. But maybe the average Joe like looks at filling out that bracket like, that's too much now. If you add an extra page where you need to, make this losers bracket or whatever they're going to do. I think they're trying to make it to 74 teams. But it's the math is not going to be easy as far as the one page I was reading from Matt Norlander today.
I think people will always fill out a bracket. It's one of the most fun things that people do for casual fans and beyond casual fans. I mean, people who don't even consider themselves sports fans fill out the March Madness bracket in their office pools or whatever it is. So I think that'll always be part of the sports experience when March rolls around. I don't want the tournament to expand. I love how it is right now, but I get it from the perspective of the NCAA just wants more money, and it's all about money. That's why the NBA and the NFL expands their regular seasons and they do expansion. It's all about money. So you get it. I don't think going from 68 to 74 games is drastically going to change the fabric of the NCAA tournament. So I'm not super up in arms about it. If they expand to like 80 plus teams or something like that, or 90 or even 100 teams, which has been thrown around on social media a little bit, then you're really messing up the fabric and the essence of what makes March Madness March Madness. But Texas UNC was one of those first 4 games, and I could make the argument UNC and Texas both shouldn't even have gotten bids last year, but as big name programs they were a first 4 game. That was one of the highest rated first 4 games in a long time. So you get it from the NCAA's perspective. They want to have some of those bubble marquee teams in the tournament who are big names like a UNC, like a Texas, and those games are going to be popular. So I think 68-74 isn't that big of a deal.
Beef checking in saying you have a great Margate tan going on. Nice work there.
Beef actually, his phone died the other night, so he had to DM me, but my Instagram notifications were off. So I got a DM at 11 p.m. Are you at Memories right now? Which of course I was.
Nice. I'm trying to get the Memories this summer, man. I'm trying to get down.
You got to text me whenever you're there. I'll be there.
Right on.
So yeah, he texted and I didn't see the DM until the next morning, and he was riding solo apparently. So I wish I saw him just riding solo on the streets of Margate. Would have been a sight to see.
He's going to Wildwood this weekend. He's tearing it up, short point after short point. Finally, I did want to end on a good note. Did you happen to see Scott Van Pelt speaking to your Maryland Terrapin squad?
I did. Of course, I saw that. Scott Van Pelt is the man. He's the best. Represents Maryland as good as you can. He's an awesome guy. Really, like, it's so rare in this line of work and in this business to have a great approval rating. I mean, everyone just hates everyone if you're one of these guys who talk sports for a living. I mean, people want to hate you. If you talk sports for a living, people want to hate you and your opinion.
Very true.
Scott Van Pelt is one of the few, really the only one I can think of off the top of my head, with an incredible approval rating, as close to 100% as you're going to get. And that's for a reason, because he's a great guy and handles himself well and is obviously extremely talented. So anytime you can talk to the Maryland basketball team, give them some added motivation, it's a good thing for every Terp fan.
Today is a blessing. What are you prepared to do with it? Great stuff from Scott Van Pelt. Just retweeted that if you missed it. Sam, great stuff from you. As always, can find you on all things social. His first letter of his first name, last name, of course, Oshry. So Soshttry. What do you got cooking over there at the Score, sir?
Some summer league stuff, some win total stuff, and then we're going to start cooking on footballs. Actually, some WNBA stuff as well. And we're going to start cooking on football season. I mean, it's the driest month of the calendar year, for being honest. But we're going to start cooking up on football season pretty soon.
My man, great stuff here. Can't thank you enough for popping on. And, look, we're enjoying the summer league, but let's not get too crazy about it. All right. Let's get VJ Edgecombe out there. But Cooper Flag.
If you were listening, did you hear who Bernard compared him to the other day?
I did. Yes. Who did he say? Did he say Millsap? Who did he say?
Just a little bit better than Paul Millsap, a guy by the name of Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Wait, what?
You heard that? You heard that correct. And I thought he was going to go Anthony Edwards, which I've seen a little bit and is also ridiculous. But he said Michael Jeffrey Jordan. That's what he said.
Sean Bernard said that.
Correct. Yeah, that I didn't even have words. I didn't even have a reaction.
What? I have to hear this. What part of the show did he say that?
It was pretty early when we were maybe like 10, 15 minutes in when we were talking about
VJ like the first 30 minutes. Yeah, it was. He was going nuts about VJ. I loved it.
Threw his comparison out. We were talking about him for a while, so maybe it was later, but he threw his comparison.
Oh my goodness!
I was like, what are we doing? Yeah.
Sean, I'll have to pull that. We'll have to play that tomorrow on a daily ticket. Sam, you're the best. Enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you get back to Margate, sir. All right. And I will talk to you when I get back from the beach myself and get ready for football season, sir.
Yes, sir. Enjoy the Princeton. Enjoy Avalon. I'll talk to you.
My man, there he is. Sam Oshry once again on the Gambler Stream. Oh, my God, Sean Bernard, you did not say that. I got to hear it. I got to go back. I got to find this. He had to be saying it to get a stir, to rise, to get a rise out of people. Zero. There is you cannot. That's just. There's one player. There's two players you can't ever say that he reminds you of. Ever. It's LeBron and Michael Jordan. That's it. Those are the two players. Just keep them off of he reminds me of lists. There are you could say Wilt. You could say Kareem. You could say Karl Malone. Sean Kemp. You can go down the list of other greats. Stockton, Larry Bird, Kobe, Vince Carter. I could just go on. You can name any player in NBA history that this player reminds you of, except for Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Just, can we leave those two guys off the list? Just leave them off the list. I don't know. What do I know? Who knows? Daily Ticket rolling on here. Good stuff. I'll have to find that. We'll play that one tomorrow. It's a dead time of year when we are getting emails about the Florida Python Challenge. I just got an email here. The Florida Python Challenge is a 10-day annual event that brings together both professional and amateur participants to help remove invasive Burmese pythons from the Florida's ecosystem. Contestants can't use firearms, traps, bait, explosives, or chemicals to remove the pythons, just their bare hands. In the most recent 2024 competition, a total of 195 pythons were captured, with the champ hauling in a total of 20 snakes. The FPC has become so popular that now there are even ways to wager on it. How about that, sports fans? We're talking pythons. Total number of pythons caught, number set at 192.5. I'll take the over. Total number of pythons caught by champion. I'll take the over 18.5. Longest length of python caught 17.5. I'll take the under on that. That is a long, long snake. Ugh, nasty. Daily Ticket rolling on more after this.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.